Jamaica is very tourist-oriented on the east side of the island. The west side of the island, the homes and villages are just shacks that are built attached to the mountain. And a lot of the villages didn't have running water, a lot of the homes didn't have running water, but they had community wells. And the people would transport the water back to their homes in buckets and put them in rain barrels or blue barrels or metal buckets to store the water. When they store the water, a lot of times it wasn't in a sanitary condition or it wasn't covered. And then it led to flies or mosquitoes laying their larvae or their eggs in the water, which when ingested would cause dysentery. After we installed the filters, we had a presentation on operation, backflushing and care, and maintenance of the filter. We would bring the women up and I would explain the procedures and operations of the filter. Well, she actually started crying and I gave her a hug and I said, well, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you. And she goes, I wish we had more of these. And I said, yeah, I do too. She goes, there's a lot more people I know that could use these. She goes, but I'll share mine. When my neighbors come over and their water's dirty, I'll filter that for them. So enabling them to have the filter and to treat their water to help their neighbors. We've just given them a little bit of help to enable and to love others.
As we saw quite a few people and dispensed many glasses in the morning and early afternoon, and then after lunch, they divided our team into two groups and off we went out into the small villages surrounding the larger city that we were doing the eyeglass clinic in. We had visited almost every home that the village evangelists had planned for us to visit, and we were on our way back to where we were meeting the rest of the team to get on the vans to go home. And there were a group of, I would say, older teenage boys all sitting around. They expressed interest in what we were doing in the village and why we didn't stop and talk to them about what we were talking to everybody else about. So we wandered over there and we began our story about the gospel using our bracelets, and at the very end, out of the 5 that were sitting there, 4 of them asked to be baptized.
The witch doctor is literally a person who has a non-physical control of the families and the members of the community. It was limited in the sense of what they could do, what they could think. He would do activities that would help them have a better crop or have a bad crop, whatever the case may be. After a couple of days in the village, the witch doctor had permitted his 3 wives and all his children to be baptized. He wanted me to be the person that was baptizing his family. So in a very short period of time, I had the opportunity to baptize all his children as well as his 3 wives. The witch doctor, of course, did not want to participate in it, but we had the opportunity to bring Christ to that family.
Well, the story continues because the very next day, we had just gotten to the village and a boy came riding his bike over. He was intent on seeing me, and he approached me showing me his bracelet, his witness bracelet on his arm. And through the translator, I found out he was one of the boys that had been playing cards the day before he had gotten baptized and wanted to know if I brought him a Bible written in his language, Swahili. I had to tell him no, and the rest of that evening, he followed us around and listened to the story and didn't say a whole lot, just followed behind. Every house we went to, he went right along with us. Well, the following day during the eyeglass clinic, I had an opportunity to get a hold of a Bible written in Swahili. And so that night we took it to the village, hoping to find this young man and give him his Bible as a gift. And the last picture I have of him, he sat right down on a log next to one of the homes and he was reading his Bible. In fact, as we drove away, we went to several other homes, but when we drove away that night, he was still sitting there reading his Bible, which was very touching to see him so hungry to read the Word and to hear more of the story of our God and of his God.
I went to Guatemala in an eyeglass team. And normally, when I go on an eyeglass team, I test for reading or I test for vision. But this particular day that we were on the field, I was in the fitting section. Well, prior to that, I was getting ready for the Guatemala team, and so I was processing the glasses. I took them out of the boxes that the Lions Club sent them in. I washed them, I read them with the lensometer, and I stickered them. And as I was stickering them, I came across a really special pair of glasses. You can only use a certain percentage of the glasses from the Lions Club because the prescriptions are either not right. They're like for the left eye or the right eye, one's too strong or one's too weak. It has to be a certain measurement. And these 15s matched. And it's very rare to have a high prescription that matches. Normally when I was stickering the glasses and making sure they were in the boxes correctly, and I would kind of bless them, thinking about the people that they were going to get to. And I got to this size or prescription 15, and I just said, Lord, you have a special person in mind for this. And so I put it in the box. So when I was in Guatemala, that day that I was at the fitting section instead of the reading section, this lady came in with her daughter or her, I'm not sure who she was, but she was leading her in. It was toward the end of the day. They had tried testing her, and they couldn't get a reading. And we couldn't help her, or we didn't have a prescription. And I thought about that 15 pair of glasses. So I went over to the glasses, picked it up, and I went over to the lady and I said, try these glasses on. Well, she put them on, her daughter helped her, and she had a Bible in her hand. She started reading the Bible, and I just was so moved. We were all crying. And so I got to see, God bless me, because I got to see the glasses, who that person was that got that 15. And I know that every single glass that gets read, every person who does that, because there's lots of volunteers at most, doesn't always get to see that firsthand. So I know that God blessed me doing that. And I wanted to share that, that story.